So, if you don't know what's going on at the moment in America, currently in Florida, there is a extremely bad weather conditions going on there. Hurricane Helene has been absolutely tearing apart the whole entire state. I mean, Florida is pretty prone to like tornadoes and hurricanes due to the type of weather that they get. If you don't know how like tornadoes and hurricanes are caused, I didn't know this until like a couple of months ago, but it's due to the mountain ranges that are within the central of America, and then also like the hot, humid weather from Florida. And when those like two weathers collide, that's what causes like a hurricane. And because of those the mountain ranges and the weather conditions that are within that part of America, it causes a lot of devastating hurricanes to occur within that part of America. And I saw this image right here. This is like a little aerial view of the hurricane that's currently been going on within Florida. I mean, it is absolutely devastating. Look how massive this entire thing is. And this right here as well is just one photo of the absolute destruction that this hurricane has caused. And unfortunately, during this as well, a lot of people have lost their lives. A lot of it, when it comes to people losing their lives, a lot of it is just unfortunate accidents, people who are just trying to bunker down their homes, people who weren't able to get out in time, and just all different types of, unfortunate circumstance. But there is this one circumstance where 6 people were killed during this hurricane that is no doubtably, it isn't an accident. It isn't an accident of the people who were killed, but it is a repercussion, and it is the fault of the company that was involved. So there is this company within the location of where the hurricanes were taking place, and it was by Impact Plastics. And I saw this tweet as well. Now, I don't know if this tweet is 100% true, but this is supposedly the rumor that's been going on, is that the owner of Impact Plastics, Gerald O'Connor, who let 6 employees die during the flooding in Hurricane Helene by telling them they'd be fired if they didn't show up there that day. That's right. This CEO of the company instructed that his workers had to work during this hurricane or else they would be fired. And during the working day, there were 6 employees that were killed. And now this man has released a so-called apology video, and we're going to go through it, and we're going to do a bit of a reaction because I want to pause it multiple times because I've watched this already, and I just want to prepare you, if you haven't watched it, that this is by far one of the worst so-called apology videos that I've like this. Literally, I have seen better YouTube apology videos than I have with this. That's how bad this is, and we'll get into the reasons why as we watch it, and also after we watch it as well. So let's get into it. And I just want to say, buckle in, strap in, because you are going to be extremely annoyed by the words that come out of this man's mouth.
I'm Gerald O'Connor, founder and president of Impact Plastics in Irwin, Tennessee. Due to death threats against me and my family, and to reduce the stress on local law enforcement that now needs to be focused on recovery operations.
I just want to pause it already. I really like how instead of saying that due to the people that were killed during this hurricane or anything like that, he diverges the blame and diverges the reason for making this apology to due to the death threats that my family has gotten. So without even straight away off the bat, within the first few seconds, I'm already just this is not off to a good start. Instead of saying that, instead of coming out straight off the bat and saying, I'd like to, put out an apology or, wish the condolences of the families of people who were killed, straight away he's just due to the death threats that my family has received. Trying to, play the victim already. We 5 seconds in to this so-called apology video.
I'm with you by this video. The flood of September 27th took from our Impact Plastics family some great employees. One was a personal friend of more than 30 years.
I always love how they call
working together.
Families. To me, that's just bullcrap.
We are heartbroken, as you are,
Sure
about our loss, and will keep those who have now passed in our hearts forever. Following that day, I ordered an immediate review of the events and the timeline of what occurred that morning, beginning as soon as the last surviving employees and a count of those who are missing were addressed. With help from the National Guard, we were able to help secure the rescue 5 of our employees by helicopter. Today, we share that preliminary report with the public.
I watched another video of someone else reacting to this as well, and they said it. I was watching Asmongold's video on this. This man needed a teleprompter, like without a doubt. Like this guy is probably a millionaire, probably really rich. The fact that he's constantly looking down at like this piece of paper is like just doesn't really seem genuine as well. Like if he just had a teleprompter and looked into the camera, like it'd seem more genuine. Like, you know, it's like when I don't look into the camera and I'm looking at like my screen, it doesn't seem as genuine as when I'm like making eye contact with you, you know, to people watching like a video. They're just him constantly looking down just doesn't like, it's really not like the best look ever.
The findings are that employees were told to leave the plant at least 45 minutes before the gigantic force of the flood hit the industrial park.
I really want to state this, is that you have to listen to the wording that he's using, all right? He's using very specific wording where he says 45 minutes before the gigantic flood hit the park. I am no weather expert. I'm no flooding expert. I'm no hurricane expert, no matter what it is. But it doesn't take 45 minutes for it to go from sunshine and rainbows and completely dry to boom, people are dead. Like, it doesn't take that. And like, you knew about this a lot longer than I mean, this hurricane has been talked about for like what, over like a couple weeks now or something like that. I don't know the exact timeline of how long this hurricane has been going for, but you're trying to make this like thing saying that like, oh yes, they were given a 45-minute timeline to, you know, evacuate before the gigantic part, like him specifically saying like the gigantic flood, like these specific words is trying to divert the fact that like they knew about this a lot longer than like before it actually like really fully hit the factory that they were working at.
There was time to escape. Employees were not told at any time that they would be fired if they left the plant. After checking to make sure everyone was out of our plant and to rescue important files, I was one of the last people to leave the plant and luckily escape.
You know what's funny is like two things. One, I love how he says that no one would be fired. Well, yeah, no one would be fired for leaving because they're trying to save their lives. But you also did say, supposedly, that they would be fired if they didn't even show up to work that day at all. And I really like how he says that he was one of the last ones to leave. Everyone else probably left on foot, while he probably had like, you know, a helicopter waiting on him on like a helipad or something like that. Like, there's no way that this CEO was like in the grits of it with everyone else, like on ground, like ground zero, trying to escape. Get out of here. Whatever. Well, you were probably hovering in helicopter over the top, waiting for everyone, just checking over, make sure they didn't get out.
To our knowledge, no one perished while on company property.
To our knowledge, no one perished on company property. You want to know why he said that? So he doesn't get sued. That's the only reason why he said those words. So he does not get sued on company property.
My company will cooperate fully with the inquiries from the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation and the Tennessee Occupation and Health Administration in days ahead. For now, our focus is on our employees. Thank you for your hard work as we all try to recover from this tragedy. I fell in love with Irwin and the people back in 1987 as a home for Impact Plastics. My plan is to build back our business in this town that I love as quickly as we can and offer good jobs again to the people who live there.
So before I continue and talk about this video, more this terrible apology. Yeah, I did want to say that at the start of my video, I did talk only about how, like, you know, this hurricane is affecting Florida, but obviously as well, like from the initial photo that you did see, it is affecting like the states above Florida as well. One of them being Tennessee, which is where Impact Plastics was. I did forget to mention that at the start of my video, so I do apologize for that. But yes, this was in Erwin, Tennessee, and like I said, even though Florida does get like the full front of a lot of these because of, like, you know, the very humid weather that they have there due to, like, you know, just the geographical state of the way that, like, you know, America is in that specific part of where Florida is. That's really what causes, like, a lot why they're very prone to hurricanes. I remember I watched something about it. It's very, very interesting of how, like, why hurricanes occur a lot. But obviously Tennessee, being one of the states that are actually that are very, very close to Florida, I think it's one of the connecting states actually. It does cop like a full frontal of a lot of these you know, the devastating outcomes that occur due to in these hurricanes. But back to the video. That is by far one of the worst apologies I've ever seen. Like, I have seen YouTube apology videos so much better than that. Because at least in these YouTube apology videos, even though they don't seem as genuine, at least sometimes, or at least majority of the times, they try to take some accountability, and they also acknowledge the things that went wrong. Like, even if they don't, like, take full accountability for it, they still acknowledge that, like, hey, this happened, but it was for these other reasons. Like, you know, remember the ukulele girl? Whatever her name was, I can't remember her name. But even she was just like, yeah, I was being weird. I know, but, you know, I didn't know how to deal with situations at the time. I'm a weirdo. It did happen, but I'm just a weirdo. You know, all these other situations where people do something wrong, they're still just like, I'm sorry. But, like, this guy, nothing whatsoever. The only time that he fully acknowledged it is like, yeah, I was close friends with one other guy. It's sad, but they didn't die on company property though. That they didn't die. Hey, they died. They literally, as they walked out the door, that's when they died, and that's when, like, I flew off in my helicopter, and I was like, whew, thank God, no one can sue me for this. Honestly, this is by far one of the most selfish shit I've ever seen. You caused these deaths. Supposedly, you said that, like, if these people didn't come to work, they would be fired. Even then, even if it was just like, you know, you still should come into work. No, they shouldn't even have been advised to come into work whatsoever. These people should have been told, there is a hurricane, there is possibilities of massive flooding, don't come into work. Like, you should have been put out that saying, don't come into work. Do not come into work. Instead, you had people on your property during this time, and even though they weren't on your property technically, you caused these deaths 100% without a doubt. And this apology is by far one of the worst things. Like I said, I can't just wrap my head. Like, when I first saw this, I was absolutely gobsmacked by the words that were coming out of this man's mouth. You can see that this man has no humility within him. He does not care. He does not give a single fuck about the people that died. Honestly, this whole entire apology, it was written by lawyers, without a doubt. It was a lawyer written, like, apology video. This was written by his legal team, without a doubt, to cover his ass. That's all this was. It was a legal lawyer thing. Without a doubt, I'm convinced that his lawyers wrote this and said, you have to say this to cover your ass. But I would definitely like to hear what you guys think about this apology and this whole entire situation altogether. Like, I just absolutely can't believe that this situation even exists in the first place. My heart goes out to all the people that have been affected by this hurricane, like during Hurricane Helene. It's absolutely terrible. You know, all the families that have been affected with losing houses and also losing family members. You know, my heart's definitely go out to them. But that's going to be it from me, guys. Make sure you like, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. Peace out.